Welcome to this webinar. In this session, we'll provide an overview of how the FreeStyle Libre 2 system works, explain the benefits of using the system, show you how to apply the FreeStyle Libre 2 Plus sensor and set alarms, plus demonstrate how you can share your glucose data with your healthcare team. The FreeStyle Libre 2 Plus sensor is small, discreet and comfortable to wear, and it allows you to measure your glucose levels without needing to finger prick. However, finger pricks are required when glucose readings and alarms don't match symptoms or expectations. The true value of the FreeStyle Libre 2 system is the glucose data that will be available to you. You'll be able to see not only your current glucose levels, but also where they've been and where they're heading. This will enable you to take a proactive approach to managing your diabetes as per your healthcare professional's advice. You'll receive the FreeStyle Libre 2 Plus sensor in a yellow box containing the applicator and sensor pack. To be able to see your glucose levels, you need to download the FreeStyle Libre Link app on your smartphone. Simply go to the App Store or Google Play Store and type FreeStyle Libre Link. You'll also have the option of seeing and sharing glucose reports with your healthcare team through Libre View, and sharing glucose data in real time with loved ones with the Libre Link Up app. When you apply the sensor, there's no need to calibrate it, nor is any code entry or finger prick calibration required. After the 60-minute warm-up period, real-time glucose readings are automatically sent straight to your smartphone and updated every minute. Plus, you can choose to set optional glucose alarms for high or low glucose or signal loss. We'll explain how to do this in a later section. Let's start by looking at the sensor. The sensor is a small device worn on the back of the upper arm that measures the glucose levels in your body. It's designed to stay on the body for 15 days and is water-resistant for up to 30 minutes and up to 1 meter depth, so you don't need to remove it for showering or swimming. You apply the sensor by yourself with the applicator. Whilst you're wearing it, the sensor will automatically capture readings every minute, day and night. If there's a problem with the connection between the app and the sensor, or if you see any gaps appearing in the 8-hour graph, you can choose to scan the sensor. This will enable you to fill in any gaps in your data from the last 8 hours and ensure you don't lose any useful information. No other sensor technology on the market allows you to do this. The excellent accuracy of the FreeStyle Libre 2 Plus sensor over 15 days means no routine finger pricks are necessary to test your glucose levels. You do not need to finger prick test to calculate the insulin dose, to confirm a hypo or impending hypo, when your glucose is changing rapidly. You only need to finger prick test if glucose readings and alarms don't match your symptoms or expectations. This section covers how to apply the sensor and how to activate it to get started. Watch this short video to learn how to apply the FreeStyle Libre 2 Plus sensor. You're now ready to start the sensor. After applying the sensor, you'll need to activate it with an activation scan. This will start a 60-minute warm-up period that allows the sensor to warm up and the body to get used to wearing it. Once the sensor has been activated, your screen will turn yellow to confirm that the warm-up period has started and will display the time your sensor will become available. If you're using an iPhone, find the Scan button on the app and hold the top front of the phone near the sensor. Once you hear a tone and/or feel a vibration, the scan is complete. If you're using an Android phone, open the app and bring the back of the phone near the sensor. Slowly move the back of the phone across the sensor area. A tone and/or vibration means that you've found the connection point. Hold it there a few more seconds until you get a second tone and/or vibration. This next section provides an overview of the main features available on the FreeStyle Libre Link app's home screen. When you start using the FreeStyle Libre 2 Plus system, the first thing you need to do if you're going to be using your smartphone is to download the FreeStyle Libre Link app. To do this, go to the App Store or Play Store and search FreeStyle Libre Link. Look for FreeStyle Libre Link GB. Press Get or Install. The app is free to download and use. Once you've downloaded the app, you'll be guided through the setup process and tutorial. At this point, you'll be prompted to set up an account, or if you're a previous user, you can log in. To access the settings in the app's main menu, tap the 3 horizontal lines at the top left of the screen. Your current glucose reading is displayed at the top of the screen within a coloured band in a large, bold font. This is a real-time reading, which is automatically updated every minute and sent directly to your phone, as long as your FreeStyle Libre 2 Plus sensor and the compatible smartphone are connected and in range. The background colour of this band reflects the status of your current glucose reading at a glance. Orange indicates a high glucose reading. Yellow indicates readings between your target glucose range and either your high or low levels. Green indicates readings are within your target glucose range. And finally, red indicates a low glucose reading. Your target glucose range is identified by a green shaded band. It's set at 3.9 to 10 millimoles per litre and can be customised. Work with your healthcare professional to set a suitable target glucose range for you. Note that this is not the same as your glucose alarm thresholds, which you're also able to customise. To enter details of food, insulin, activity, or any other information that you feel is relevant to your current glucose reading, tap the Add Note button. Select one of the tick boxes from the list of options. You can then select from further drop-down menus or enter some free text if you wish to go into more detail. To save your note, just tap Done. Use the Sensor Life display to check the number of days of wear remaining on your current sensor. To fill in any gaps in your 8-hour history or during a Bluetooth interruption, you can scan your sensor at any time to get a glucose reading. The message directly above your current glucose reading confirms where your glucose is or where it's heading. Next to your current glucose level, you'll see a trend arrow showing the direction your glucose is heading along with the rate of change. You could see any of 5 arrows. A vertical arrow pointing up or down means that your glucose is rising or falling rapidly. If it carries on like this, in 30 minutes' time, your glucose level could be 3 millimoles per litre higher or lower than now. If the arrow is pointing diagonally upwards or downwards, your glucose level is rising or falling and is expected to change between 1.8 and 3 millimoles per litre in the next 30 minutes. Finally, if the arrow is pointing horizontally, your glucose level is relatively stable and expected to change less than 1.8 millimoles per litre in the next 30 minutes. This information, the reading, trend arrow and glucose graph, will help you better understand your glucose levels and decide what action you should be taking. The thick black line running through the green shaded band shows how your glucose level has changed over the last 8 hours. So, for example, when you wake up in the morning, you can see what your current level of glucose is and where it's been during the night. This 8-hour history allows you to join up the dots between readings. If Bluetooth is disabled or interrupted, the screen will inform you that any alarms you've set won't function. To help you understand how the sensor works, this next section explains the difference between interstitial glucose measurement and blood glucose readings, as well as important information about driving while using the FreeStyle Libre 2 system. The sensor has a small, thin, flexible filament, sensor tip, that's inserted 5 mm under the skin. This sharp is equivalent in diameter to a 23-gauge, 0.64 mm needle. Unlike a finger prick that measures glucose in the blood, the sensor filament measures glucose in the interstitial fluid. Blood glucose and interstitial fluid glucose are closely related but not identical. Glucose reaches the blood before it reaches the interstitial fluid, therefore there's a small delay. The best way to understand the lag concept is to use this train analogy. Think of the red carriage at the front of the train as the blood glucose, and the yellow carriage at the back is the sensor glucose reading. The train track represents the glucose level. When glucose levels are stable, the glucose readings are likely to be very similar, as both carriages are at the same level on the track. When glucose levels start to rise quickly, the red carriage reaches those higher glucose levels sooner than the yellow carriage. The yellow carriage will reach the same levels, but with a small delay. The same happens when glucose levels are falling quickly. The red carriage will lead and show dropping values before the yellow carriage starts to follow. The DVLA has permitted the use of the FreeStyle Libre 2 system for the purpose of driving with Group 1 drivers. You'll be able to use FreeStyle Libre 2 to check your glucose levels before driving, but you must still do a confirmatory finger prick test if your glucose level is 4.0 millimoles per litre or below. If you have symptoms of hypoglycemia. If your readings are inconsistent with your symptoms. If you have become hypoglycemic or have indications of impending hypoglycemia. Flash glucose monitoring systems are not legally permitted for use by Group 2 drivers. For more information about driving and diabetes, go to www.gov.uk/diabetes-driving. Next, we will show you how to set and dismiss the FreeStyle Libre 2 system's optional alarms on your phone via the FreeStyle Libre Link app. Once the 60-minute warm-up has ended, you'll be able to see your glucose levels. If you're using the latest version of the app on your smartphone, the sensor will send a glucose reading automatically to your phone every minute. You can choose to either glance at the app or scan the sensor to see the glucose level. If you're using the blue reader, you'll need to scan the sensor to be able to see your latest glucose reading. One of the great features of the FreeStyle Libre 2 system is that it has optional alarms. The alarms use Bluetooth technology. You will receive the alarm on your phone via the FreeStyle Libre Link app. These alarms can be shared with your family and friends via Libre Link Up app, provided your device has internet connectivity for glucose data to automatically upload to Libre View and to transfer to connected Libre Link Up app users. There are 3 alarms that can be set to alert you if your or a family member's glucose is too high. Your or a family member's glucose is too low. There's a loss of signal between the device and sensor. We'll now go through the process of setting your alarms on the FreeStyle Libre Link app. First, open the app and tap on the 3 horizontal lines at the top left of the screen. From the list of options, select Alarms. You will then see the 3 different alarms available: low glucose, high glucose, and loss of signal. If you're selecting a low glucose alarm, you can choose any value between 3.3 and 5.6 millimoles per litre, followed by Save. You can then repeat the same steps for the high glucose alarm, selecting any value between 6.7 and 22.2 millimoles per litre. If you want the alarm to always play a sound and appear on the lock screen regardless of your phone's settings, toggle Override Do Not Disturb from off to on. As soon as a low or high glucose alarm is turned on, the signal loss alarm is automatically switched on. The alarms use Bluetooth technology, so your phone needs to be within 6 meters unobstructed of the sensor. Being further than this for 20 minutes or longer will trigger the signal loss alarm to alert you that the app is no longer getting signals from the sensor. You can also easily adjust the tone and vibration settings for each alarm. On the phone, a push notification will appear to alert you of the alarm, displaying your glucose level and corresponding trend arrow. Tap the notification to acknowledge the alarm. This will do 2 things. 1. Stop the alarm. 2. Show your reading in more detail on the home screen. By looking at the glucose value, the trend arrow and history graph, you can then decide the best action to take. In this section, you'll learn more about the 3 integrated digital health tools: the FreeStyle Libre Link app, Libre View, and Libre Link Up. The integrated FreeStyle Libre digital platform helps you monitor your glucose on your smartphone for easier diabetes management and share your glucose data with your healthcare team and loved ones. The FreeStyle Libre Link app allows you to easily share your glucose data with your healthcare team via Libre View by connecting to their clinic. This results in more effective consultations, as both you and your diabetes team will be able to see your glucose patterns and trends. For peace of mind, you can remotely share your glucose data and alarms with up to 20 caregivers or loved ones. Once they have the Libre Link Up app set up on their phone, they can check your glucose levels anytime or receive glucose alarm notifications in real time. They can even set their own alerts if you didn't turn on your alarms on the FreeStyle Libre Link app. You can learn how to use FreeStyle Libre Link to connect to both Libre Link Up and Libre View in these videos. You will find them on the same page as this webinar after completing it. The FreeStyle Libre Link app provides a wealth of glucose data in the form of insightful reports. This section gives a summary of the key reports and how to use them to improve your glucose control. We'll look at time in range in more detail in the next section. The Low Glucose Events report will show how many low glucose events you've had over a set number of days. It counts a low glucose event as any time you go below 3.9 millimoles per litre for 15 minutes or longer. You can see which 3-hour period of the day they happen at and how often. You might see more events than you were expecting because your glucose is now being measured 24 hours a day. The average glucose report combines a number of days. It allows you to see your average glucose level for 3-hour slots, and the overall average for the selected time period is displayed below the graph. The average is also shown for different periods of the day. Readings above or below your target glucose range are yellow, orange, or red. Readings in range are green. The logbook will list any notes entered via the Add Notes function. You might, for example, log how many carbohydrates you've eaten, how much insulin you've taken, if you've done any exercise or taken any other medications. The notes in this report can be useful when you come to review the data or when preparing for a consultation with your healthcare professional. The daily graph report will show your glucose readings for that day. This can then be compared to the daily patterns report, which is a breakdown of your average readings over the selected timeframe, 7, 14, 30 or 90 days, so you can see your glucose pattern. The estimated A1C report will calculate where your HbA1c is likely to be based on your glucose readings. It is not a blood test, but an estimation using your current glucose readings. The estimated level may not match your A1C measured in a laboratory. The sensor usage report will show the average number of times you've viewed the app or scanned the sensor and how much data you've captured. We recommend that you look at your data often throughout the day. One of the key measures used in glucose control is time in range. The following section explains what it is, why it's so important, and how to use the app's time in range report to track yours. For example, if your target glucose range is between 3.9 and 10.0 millimoles per litre, Time in range is the percentage of time you manage to keep your glucose levels within this range. In the examples shown here, the target range is indicated by the green band, with the black line representing daily glucose patterns. In the example where all the glucose levels are outside the green band, this person spent 0% time in range. In the top example, the glucose levels are within range for the first part of the day, and then go above range for the second part of the day, so this person spent 50% time in range on that day. In the last example, the glucose readings are all within range, therefore this person spent 100% time in range on that day. So why is time in range important? Studies have shown that when you increase your time in range, your HbA1c decreases. For every 10% increase of time in range, there could be a 0.8% reduction of HbA1c for people with type 1 or type 2. Every extra hour in range has a positive impact on your glucose control and is associated with clinically significant benefits. Spending more time in range reduces the risk of microvascular complications. Guidelines recommend that most people with type 1 and type 2 should aim to spend around 70% of their time in range. If you're a long way off this figure, don't get disheartened, as small improvements will add up and make a big difference overall. The FreeStyle Libre 2 system will help you keep track of the percentage of time you spent in range by splitting your data into 4 categories. The green bar will show all the readings within range. There will also be 2 coloured bars for the readings above range and a bar for the readings below range. Several factors can have an impact on glucose levels. We know that some foods, illnesses, and in some cases stress can push glucose levels up, and that some insulins and medications can potentially push levels down. By reviewing your data often, you'll be able to see any triggers that might be causing your variability, identify what's working well, and then repeat what works best for you. In this section, we'll give you information on how to dispose of the sensor, applicator, and all the packaging. After removing the sensor, give it a wipe and then dispose of it as electrical waste, the same as a battery. The applicator contains the needle, so this needs to go in a yellow biohazard bag or clinical sharps bin. You might need a bigger sharps bin to fit your applicators in. The sensor packaging goes into general waste. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoy using the FreeStyle Libre 2 system to manage your diabetes with confidence and ease. For any further questions or queries about your FreeStyle Libre 2 system, contact the Abbott customer care line. Further details can be found at www.freestyle.abbott.